Hi everyone, this is Ashley. Welcome to the channel and also welcome to the first episode of this series which I've just launched called Come Coffee With Me. So yeah, I really do have an iced coffee with me right now. As you can already tell from the topic of this video, right? I'll be sharing something that's very close to my heart and it's something that I've been wanting to share for a really long time. So yeah, if you are someone who's thinking of maybe you can come to Hong Kong and work but you have no idea how or what's the process like, please continue watching because I'll be sharing some tips and advices in this video. Today I'll be sharing how did I land myself a job as a foreigner during COVID-19. So the first part will be a little background about myself and there will be three parts. The first would be before applying the working visa, in the midst of applying the working visa, and after the application. So what you can do in these three stages. Alright, so first thing first, about myself. I was born and bred in Malaysia, and after that I was in Singapore for about 6 years. I just moved to Hong Kong this May 2021. I've been in Hong Kong for slightly more than 6 months and started working in Hong Kong for slightly more than a month. So how did I enter Hong Kong during COVID? As you all know, Hong Kong is very strict when it comes to entering Hong Kong. So I actually get to enter Hong Kong from Singapore when they are still allowing visitors from Singapore to enter Hong Kong. You may ask, oh, how do you have to do anything? Yeah, I do have to. So it's the normal procedure, PCR test, book a hotel for quarantine. But regarding visa, I don't have to apply for any visa. If you are a Malaysia passport holder, you are able to enter Hong Kong without any visa application, and you are also eligible to stay in Hong Kong for up to 3 months. So that's how I enter Hong Kong in the first place. Moving on to what you should do or prepare before applying for a working visa. First of all, you have to have a job offer from a company. I mean, I've been trying to search for Hong Kong's job for a while, but due to COVID, they are very reluctant to hire foreigner. That's the first thing. Also, I feel like the Hong Kong companies, right, they prefer to interview someone who's already physically here in Hong Kong instead of a foreigner that's like somewhere else out of Hong Kong. When I was back in Singapore, I've been trying to search for a job in Hong Kong. Someone actually got back to me, but after knowing that, oh, I'm not in Hong Kong, they are not willing to move forward to the next step. So yeah, one of the reasons why I actually come to Hong Kong was also because I was actually hoping that I might get a physical meeting, a physical interview with the Hong Kong's company. So when I first touched down in Hong Kong, I started to casually browsing and applied for a job. After knowing that I'm physically here in Hong Kong, right, I actually get to have a few face-to-face interviews with companies. Yeah, that actually was quite surprising. So I started to contact the HR person or the managing director that I was already talking with back in January. So yeah, I actually texted my current company's managing director and tell him that, oh, I'm actually in Hong Kong physically. Do you think we can have a meetup or an interview if I still fit the working requirements and all, right? So yeah, I actually get to have a face-to-face interview with the director, and after the interview, I actually get a job offer right after. That's how I get a job offer from a Hong Kong company. As someone that has not studied in Hong Kong, as someone that was working in Singapore before that, my tips were how to get yourself a offer from Hong Kong company, right? Is first, you will need to start applying for the Hong Kong company's job, and secondly, for myself, I am quite extreme, so I actually fly all over to Hong Kong to have an interview with my current company. So yeah, apply for a job, get yourself a face-to-face interview or get yourself a virtual interview whatsoever. Hopefully you can have an offer from any company that you are wishing to work for. So secondly, what should you do after getting an offer? So right after I got an offer, the HR officer went ahead with the application. You just have to submit any documents that the HR asked for. So after you submit, then basically you have nothing to do other than wait. So how long is the wait how long can you get back the result of your application. For Hong Kong, right, the normal procedure of a working visa application takes up to 2 months and above, so 8 weeks in precise. It's 8 weeks exactly from that day your HR apply for your working visa. And in the midst of this waiting, right, you can actually do something else as well. I actually went down to the immigration tower to ask about the process of the application and what else can I do other than waiting. So the information that I got from the officer is you can actually have a reference number 1 week from the visa application being submitted. Why do I suggest you to get the reference number? Is because you can actually check your case status every Monday to Friday, every morning at 8 a.m. by using the reference number. So every morning 8 a.m. you key in your reference number and you check the application status. It's either pending, failed, or success. Other than waiting endlessly and waiting for your HR to get back to you, right, this is the least you could do as of now. Get the reference number and check the application status on your own every morning 8 a.m. So after the submission, every working visa application will be assigned to one case officer. If you are really worried, you can actually get your case officer's contact number, direct line from the immigration tower officer. I suggest you to not call the case officer too often or out of the blue, so you only call the case officer when it's necessary. So why do I say that, right? It might be annoying for them to keep having to attend to you. For myself, right, I only called the case officer when it's up to 7 weeks mark, because I was a bit worried on like, oh, why is it taking so long? Is there anything I can help, or is there anything that I should submit again? She actually told me that, oh, it's in the last step of procedure already, so there's nothing else to submit. Yeah, that's for my case. So after the application, after you get the reference number 1 week in after the submission, and after you get your case officer's contact, so now what? Yeah, alright, let me just tell you this. So for myself, right, after the application, I've been waiting every day, and I know the wait is really torturing because you don't know when you're getting the result and you don't know how long you have to wait, right? So for myself, I actually waited up to 8 weeks only to get to know that my case was being rejected. I'm like, okay, so what should I do now? I mean, realistically speaking, I was really sad. You can be sad for a while, but after that, just keep your shit together and talk to your HR. Discuss what is the next step. What we did was file a reconsideration case. For my side, I have to resubmit all the CVs or any documents that prove I'm the best candidate for this position. The rest was actually taken care by my HR. Reconsideration started that day itself. Then there's another wait after 8 weeks. From what I know, I suspect the reason why the application was being rejected was because I was holding a tourist visa upon entering Hong Kong. I've heard from mutual friends who are working in the immigration tower, right? The possibility of getting approved of your working visa is a lot more lower if you were holding a tourist visa. They might think that, oh, how come you enter Hong Kong even when you haven't secured a job offer yet? So like, what happens in the midst of your stay in Hong Kong and suddenly you are getting a job offer? So yeah, my advice is secure yourself a job first before entering Hong Kong. So for my case, why did I do so, right, was because I can't even get a chance of having an interview when I was not physically here in Hong Kong. For myself, it's definitely a risk that I've taken. And I've also read, right, the percentage of your reconsideration case getting approved is much lower than getting your working visa application approved. You actually get to extend your visa, whatever visa you are holding, if you have a legitimate reason. So for myself, I was waiting for my working visa application. So you just have to go to the immigration tower again to extend for your stay here, only when it's 7 days before your visa expiry date. Please bear in mind, you can only do the extension 7 days before your visa expiry date. And another thing that I think y'all should know is, I think it's quite standard for this. So if you're holding a tourist visa or any visa that is not working visa, right? So after you get your working visa, you actually have to exit Hong Kong and re-enter Hong Kong in order to reactivate the working visa. So for my case, because it's during COVID, you can't possibly exit Hong Kong or go to Macau, any sort of thing. So they actually are able to reactivate a working visa in Hong Kong itself. Yeah, so that's the good news. The possibility of getting approved for a reconsideration case is really quite low, but fortunately I waited for a month-ish to get back a positive news. So basically my visa got approved in the end. All in all, the whole process of the working visa application took me about 5 months. The one piece of advice that I would like to offer is you really gotta be mentally strong during the wait of your working visa application. Be it you are physically in Hong Kong or you are actually out of Hong Kong and waiting for the working visa application, because the wait might be really long. You just gotta be hopeful, but not too hopeful because it might get rejected, right? But just keep doing what you are doing in life, and just check the result every morning at 8 a.m. That's the only thing you can do. And if it get rejected, don't panic. Go ahead to file for a reconsideration case. So from what I read, right, if your reconsideration case is being rejected again, you can still file the second reconsideration case. And if it still get rejected, everyone online actually recommended to reapply your working visa application 6 months after that. I mean, for my case, I enter Hong Kong without a job offer, and I actually get a job offer from a Hong Kong company, and they are willing to sponsor my working visa application. I consider myself really lucky in this case because, as I mentioned, right, the whole process took me about 5 months, and my company actually waited for me for 5 months. On top of that, they still helped me to submit all the documents, reconsideration case. So yeah, it's really lucky to be able to work in Hong Kong. I mean, yeah, that's basically my experience of how I get myself a job in Hong Kong. So feel free to ask me any question under the comment section. I would try my best to answer any question along the way, but I'm just not sure if whatever I know is still up to date by the time I answer. I would just like to clarify, everything that I stated in this video is solely based on my personal experience. And lastly, I hope this video actually gives you more insights and information regarding the working visa application in Hong Kong. For those who are hoping to get yourself a job in Hong Kong, I wish you all the best. If you have friends who are interested in working in Hong Kong as well, please feel free to share this video to them, because I do hope that my little piece of information can be shared with people that needs it. Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for watching till the end. This is the first episode of Come Coffee with Me. So in this series, I'll be talking different topics that I am interested in sharing. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video of this series, and goodbye. I'll see you soon. Take care.